Hey everyone, welcome to Passive Play. So today I will be reviewing The School for Good and Evil, currently streaming on Netflix, starring Kerry Washington, Charlize Theron, Lawrence Fishburne, Michelle Yeoh, just to name a few. And this is based on books of the same name by author Somin Chiani. And now I haven't read the books. There's about 6 or 7 books in the series. But anyway, we kind of start off with the School for Good and Evil. It was created by these two brothers, one representing good, one representing evil, to keep the balance between good and evil in the fairy tale world and to help humans make choices to find their way in the outside world. Good trains the heroes, and evil trains the villains. And the story mainly focuses on Sophie and Agatha. They're best friends. They're also the town outcast. They get taken to the school for good and evil. Neither one feels like they belong. One feels like they don't belong there at all in the school entirely, and the other one feels like they've been placed in the wrong school. But from this film, we learn, and just in general, that good or evil isn't based on what you look like or where you come from, but who you are on the inside. And I would say too that the movie overall, it begs the question, um, that people are complicated. Good and evil exist in the same place. It's usually what people choose to give value to in their decisions. How they treat others, how they treat themselves. And it's not just a once blank statement of you're good, you're evil. I mean, in some cases you can say that depending on what their actions are, but there's a complicated duality because people are human, and in one instance you could make a good decision, and in the same instance you can make a bad one. That could technically land on either side of the spectrum on what you consider good and evil. And some of the things that I liked in the film, the costume design and the set of the school, the set pieces of the different schools, that was really great. They have the wolf guards that represent kind of like the security in the evil school. They have this finger glow magic thing that actually kind of reminds me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch show, with Melissa Joan Hart and her pointing finger. Um, and their magic is basically in this, I think this is the point finger, but it's in the finger. And they also, in all like the magic fights, and there's like the special effects that are used in the film to showcase their magic and the fights and things like that. That's really good here. It doesn't look cheap. It looks like they budgeted that really well. um and I kind of, and some of the things I disliked, with the evil side of the school. I don't know why, everybody, because you're evil, you have to be considered ugly and not clean. And it's like, who needs a bath? It's like, yeah, let's just be dirty. No looks, no deceiving. And they also have this thing too, like, they have these, both schools have these tests that the so-called heroes and villains have to take to advance, in being heroes and villains. But specifically, for the good school, if you fail 3 times, the outcome really is not good. And there's a character that kind of begs that question, like, the outcome if this person fails, like, these, if they're a good person and they don't pass this test, can they go back to their normal life prior to being entered into the school? Does this outcome that's given, why are they just automatically placed in that particular outcome? Why can't they just go back to maybe where they were prior to being brought to the school, to even take the test in becoming a villain or a hero? And now I'm there's a little, I guess I'm kind of in the middle. They have this kind of thing where it's like, they have this kind of like mean girl cliques in both the good and the evil school. I mean, it is kind of like a high school in a sense. I mean, it is a school, but it's very like high school, just as far as like, you got you have the cliques of the good versus the evil, but even within the confines of just separately school, they still have kind of like the mean girl cliques, the ones who think they're better or eviler or gooder than you and better than you. It's still that. I mean, it was very like mean girl oriented. I didn't necessarily care for that. But that does end up evolving over the course of the film. And then you do have Kerry Washington, who's Professor Dovey. She's the dean of good, and they have this AKA the Evers. Because if you're a hero, then you end up, you end up having your true love's kiss, and you end up living happily ever after. And then you have Lady Lesso, which is played by Charlize Theron, aka the Nevers, because they're evil. They never have a happy ever after. They may end up mating with somebody and having kids, but they're not necessarily happy. They're never happy, but they live. Never happily ever after, but just yeah, they're just nevers. But I thought that was kind of clever, the Evers and the Nevers. I thought that was clever, but I will say, so the overall plot and focus of the film of it's simple. It's not complicated. You kind of get what the story is, kind of where it's going to a sense. I won't necessarily say that it's not predictable, but I think it took some interesting, I guess, turns that you didn't necessarily see to an extent. There is some world building here, and there is some time spent on some characters, but not enough time is given to explore both of these fully, for one movie. Though it does make use of its over 2 hour runtime, it kind of left me wanting more, honestly, at the end. I think this would have done better as a series than a movie. And hopefully it would have been maybe more than one season if it was done as a series. It could be maybe a budget or something, based on budget. Who knows? Kerry Washington and Charlize Theron and Michelle Yeoh, Lawrence Fishburne. There's a lot of pretty, cool. There's a lot of pretty, um, seasoned actors in this film. So, depending on whatever their pay is, maybe it was cheaper to do a movie than versus a series, a 10 episode series or 8 episode, whatever. And so they chose to do the movie versus the series, but I think the series would have been able to explore and expand on certain things a lot more, give a lot more, depth and kind of exploration of the characters and just how certain things came to be. Um, but they do leave an ending, kind of setting up that there could potentially be a second movie, and I wouldn't mind that. Probably depending on how well this does. Is it going to break any records or anything like that? I don't know, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is a play for me. I really did enjoy the film, and I think that I think you'll have a good time watching it. And if you watch it with your kids, I don't think there's anything in here like too scary. I think you would have a good time probably watching this with your kids. Maybe 10 and older. I mean, off the top of my head, based on what they're showing, but I did like the film, and I overall had a good time. Again, it is a play for me. It is on streaming, so you do it at your own discretion. But I think it is a good film, and I overall have fun. I've always liked movies like this with magic and stuff, but give it a watch and see it for yourselves. Again, it is over 2 hours, so get a snack or have dinner and watch it. I think you have a good time. If you like this, hit the like button. If you have any comments, leave them below. And thank you to all the subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm trying to get 1,000 by the end of the year. And I will see you next time.